What's up, everybody? I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'll be breaking down our next matchup for UFC 328. In this one, we have, honestly, my favorite fight on the prelims. We have Joel Alvarez taking on Yaroslav Amosov. This is a very intriguing fight to me, and it's kind of one of those matchups that always makes me love combat sports because you have a fighter hailing from Spain and Alvarez versus a fighter who hails from the Ukraine and Amosov. And it's always just fun seeing those different worlds collide. It's just one of the things you gotta love about combat sports. Just fighters from completely different opposite ends of the world going against each other. So I don't know. I just figure that's a pretty fun. I don't know. I just thought that was fun. So looking at this fight, this is just so fascinating to me. You've got one of the most dangerous finishers at range and in transition in Alvarez versus one of the most disciplined and suffocating wrestlers who have now entered the UFC. This is going to be Amosov's sophomore fight in the UFC, and he already made an amazing debut in his fight with Neil Magny. Honestly, I have a lot of comparisons to one of Joel Alvarez's fight, but I'll get more into that as I go through the breakdown. But still, nonetheless, this is fantastic matchmaking, to say the least. And God, I just love this fight. I love this card. So without further ado, let's get down to the breakdown. Starting with Joel Alvarez, as he's always been a physical problem. At 6'3", I was amazed this guy can make lightweight. Though, I don't like to say size or weight bully, but I mean, it kind of fits with Alvarez. Like I said, 6'3", absolutely massive for lightweight. You saw how he used it to decimate most of his opposition. Now at welterweight, which feels like his real weight class, that size is still a problem. Alvarez made his welterweight debut last October when he took on Vicente Luque. It was a weird fight, right? Alvarez had never won via decision up until that fight, so it was a bit weird, but he still dominated the fight at the end of the day, so it doesn't really matter. In terms of his skills, Alvarez's striking is sharp and very versatile. From distance, he uses long, straight punches, good, and kicks extremely well. Stabbing jabs, kind of like a joust, if you will. Straight rights, body kicks, everything designed to keep you at his range. At distance, I mean, Alvarez is just simply much better. His ability to pick his opponents apart is supremely dangerous. But what makes Alvarez just as dangerous is his ability in close quarters. The elbows of Alvarez are extremely nasty. Look at his fight with Thiago Moises, how quickly he was able to batter that guy en route to a finish. The tomahawk elbows, slashing elbows, up elbows he was throwing, absolutely dangerous. Knees in close, like against Brenner, just being able to get the tie plumb and then go knee to the head, knee to the head, knee to the head. Just good tight range volume. He can basically, for Alvarez, he can finish the fight from anywhere. That's what makes him such a consistent finisher. You gotta remember, Luque fight exclusive. He had won every single one of his fights via finish, like against Brenner, against Mark Dercasey, the list goes on. But he's not just a finisher because of the striking. There's also the grappling. Alvarez is not just comfortable on the ground, he's very dangerous everywhere. Good submissions off his back, submissions from top position, transition. Alvarez is always attacking. Like against Joe Duffy, you got that guillotine he caught, Mark Dercasey, the Kimura. Alvarez just has so many weapons, basically everywhere. Or against the knockout against Jakar Close. It's just such a dangerous problem because he's a threat everywhere. There's one big problem with Alvarez, though. There's a big weakness. That is the wrestling defense. You see, Alvarez, he doesn't defend takedowns well. He's been taken down just about against everybody he's fought. And sometimes you see Alvarez, he doesn't even really try. The reason being is that Alvarez just has such confidence or trust in his jiu-jitsu, specifically his guard, that he's just willing to play the guard game. And that's worked for him for most part. I mean, he's won more than he's lost. He's only lost like 3 times, I believe. But there are going to be times where that simply doesn't work. The greatest example of that not working was in his last loss to Arman Tsarukyan, where Arman, while in Alvarez's guard, was just simply much better with his top pressure, much better of a wrestler. And you know what happened? He beat the shit out of Joel Alvarez. He made him a bloody mess. Excuse me. So there are times where that's not going to work. Now, at welterweight, does it work still? I don't know how well that works for Joel Alvarez because this division has some great wrestlers and some really good grapplers too. I don't think that would work against like a Sean Brady or a Kamaru Usman. You know what I mean? We'll see how it goes, but that is the biggest weakness for Alvarez is the wrestling. Now looking at Yaroslav Amosov, he's a completely different kind of fighter. He's more built around control, discipline, and high-level wrestling. For those of you who might not know him, he's the former Bellator welterweight champion. For many, many years, Amosov was undefeated, long win streak, and one of the most respected fighters outside the UFC before making the jump. Honestly, there was a time where Amosov, and I think this was during Kamaru Usman's reign, he was also pegged as maybe the best best welterweight, or at least one of the best welterweights outside the UFC for sure. And I know who he blows to. I know he lost to Damon Jackson, or not Damon Jackson. Oh my God, the ass kicking machine. I apologize. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. But point being is, Amosov only has one loss, and even then, I don't think it should be discouraging. Amosov's a really good fighter. His wrestling is absolutely elite. Strong entries, excellent control, and very good at neutralizing opponents once the fight hits the ground. Amosov, he doesn't just take his opponents down; he keeps them there, and not just controlled grappling either. Amosov's submission threats are excellent. Strong ground and pound, excellent positional awareness. That anaconda he got on Neil Magny was absolutely amazing. It just shows how good the ground game is. I still don't even know how he fully was able to get the takedown, move to a higher position, lock it up, and then made Neil Magny tap. I think it was just a round too. It was just impressive. On the feet, Amosov, he's solid. He's nowhere near as dangerous or as flashy as Alvarez, but enough to set up the wrestling and enough to stay safe. He is well-rounded, but obviously he's more of a grappler than a striker. Oh, I do remember Jason Jackson, the ass-kicking machine. That's who I was thinking of, so I apologize. But he's the only guy to beat Amosov, and Jackson's pretty good. Now, looking at it stylistically, this essentially is a question of, can Alvarez make this dangerous enough to matter before Amosov takes control? Because Alvarez is dangerous everywhere, even off his back, but Amosov is the kind of wrestler who can neutralize that danger through control and discipline. So brings the question, how does the fight play out? Well, Alvarez will have his chance. At range, he's the more dangerous striker. He can land clean. He can hurt Amosov for sure. And if Amosov is careless, there's a real risk. But Amosov isn't careless. He's going to close distance, secure takedowns, and once the fight hits the mat, he's going to control. He's going to focus on control. Alvarez will definitely throw up submission attempts, and then that's a given. But I think Amosov is just too experienced enough to navigate those attempts. Stay patient. Just maintain good control. Honestly, the more I think about this fight, the more I think about how this is very similar to the Arman Tsarukyan fight. Alvarez is dangerous enough to make it interesting, but stylistically, this is just simply too tough of a matchup for him. We've already seen what happens when Alvarez takes on elite-level wrestlers, like Tsarukyan, in this case, like Yaroslav Amosov. And it just fits the mold perfectly. I think Amosov is going to take down Alvarez almost at will and just control the grappling exchanges, avoid any major submission threats, and eventually he's going to find the finish. I think, although instead of TKO, I think Amosov is going to find a submission. So for my official prediction, I'm going to go with Yaroslav Amosov, and I'm going to pick him via submission. But with that being said, that's been my official prediction for this matchup. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on who you think's going to win. But until then, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. I thank you all for listening. And remember, stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see y'all next time.